Good evening. I'm sorry that I can't be with you in person this evening, but I'm pleased to join you through this video. I have many fond memories of Colby. I was born in Waterville and grew up on Front Street near the old campus. I and other local boys watched many baseball and football games there, and we used the fields ourselves in the summers. Later, I worked summers on the construction of what was then the new campus on Mayflower Hill. I recall one summer when I built the terraced lawn in front of Foss Hall. To this day, I check the grass there whenever I visit Waterville. My father worked as a janitor and a groundskeeper at Colby. He loved the college and took pride in taking care of its grounds and facilities. It helped him fulfill his dream that his children would get the education and the opportunities in life he never had. Winston Churchill said that democracy is the worst form of government, except for all the others that have been tried. He made an important point. Democracy is so difficult that its virtues are most apparent in contrast to other forms of government. Democracy is a recent innovation. Throughout most of history, governance has been based on power and heritage, and it was often violent. During the millennium before the birth of Christ, the city-states of Greece made the transition from dictatorship to oligarchy to democracy. The word is a combination of two Greek words, demos, the people, and kratzi, the rule of. In historical terms, Greek democracy was short-lived. Nearly 2,000 years later, it emerged slowly in England. Late in the 18th century, England's North American colonies gained their independence, and the United States of America was born. In the nearly 2.5 centuries of its existence, it has become the dominant world power, and as Franklin Roosevelt put it, the arsenal of democracy. During that time, democracy has spread to many, but not all parts of the world, often in very different forms and practices. In our lifetimes, the challenges to democracy have grown and are further complicated by several intersecting crises. There are far too many for me to discuss in these brief remarks, so I will mention just a few. Humans first appeared in Africa about 300,000 years ago, but they grew in numbers and spread around the world very slowly. It was not until the 19th century by our calendar that the world's population reached 1 billion. The most recent, the 8th, was added in just 20 years. This has contributed to a second factor, climate change. Fed by population growth and the results of the Industrial Revolution, and then the technological revolution through which we are now living, the Earth is warming at an alarming rate. The pace of change has accelerated with both beneficial and negative effects. For example, mobile phones are highly beneficial. We all have one, but they're also used effectively by terrorists and many other criminals. Pluses and minuses. And no area of technology has advanced more rapidly than that used by humans to kill other humans. In less than 2 centuries, we have gone from swords and single-shot muskets to nuclear weapons. For the first time in all of human history, the power exists to destroy all life on Earth. I could go on, as could each of you, but this seems an appropriate time to ask, what can we do about these and the many other problems we face? And how important is democracy to that response? I believe democracy is indispensable to an adequate and effective response. Among the most successful businesses in the world are Apple, Amazon, and Google. Apple was created by Steve Jobs, whose father was born in Syria. Amazon was created by Jeff Bezos, whose adoptive father was born in Cuba. Google was co-founded by Sergey Brin, who was born in Russia. I ask you two rhetorical questions. Would America be better off if they had not been admitted into our country? And what do you think the chances are that Steve Jobs would have created Apple if he had lived his life in Syria, or Jeff Bezos in Cuba, or Sergey Brin in Russia? Genius knows no boundary, no race, no ethnicity, no religion. It can be found almost anywhere that humans exist, but it tends to flourish where there is freedom, education, opportunity. The future of democracy here and elsewhere is not predetermined. Wisely or not, here it will be decided by Americans, and the same is true elsewhere. As we decide, I hope we will keep in mind two realities. First, life is constant change for every person, for every society, for every government. And in human affairs, there is no perfection and no permanence, because all of us are fallible, as are all human institutions, including, and perhaps especially, all governments. Finding effective and fair governance is especially difficult in the highly partisan and charged times in which we now live. Americans have a special responsibility as citizens of a large and long-standing democracy that has endured for nearly 2.5 centuries, and for the past century has been the dominant world power. We have had many successes, but we also have made many mistakes and had many failures. Despite all of that, even in these rancorous times, I believe the United States remains the most free and open society in the world. Martin Luther King said that the arc of history bends toward justice. He was right, although he might have added, very slowly. I am hopeful and optimistic about our future. I believe we will rise to these challenges as we have in the past. Our greatest challenge is what it always has been, to live up to our ideals. We believe that every child in America should have good health, good education, and a fair chance to go as high and as far as their talent and willingness to work will take them. But we all know that is not yet the reality. It remains an aspiration. Our challenge is to lift our efforts to the level of our aspirations. It is now my honor and pleasure to introduce our featured speaker. We are very fortunate to be joined by Ambassador Robert Gelbard. His diplomatic career under several presidents of both parties is legendary. He literally spanned the globe. He went from Paris to the Balkans to several assignments in South America, to Indonesia and the Philippines and all across Asia, and then to leadership roles at the State Department in Washington, D.C. He served our country and the cause of democracy with great distinction. He is a proud graduate of Colby and served for years on its board of trustees. I'm pleased and honored to take part in this lecture series and to present to you our featured speaker, Ambassador Robert Gelbard.